Welcome, St. Louis, and welcome, friends of ReVitalize. My name is Larry Cohn. I am the board president of this great organization, ReVitalize. Just want to give you a brief background on why I am the board president. It's because of a lifelong passion that I've had for St. Louis. I wasn't raised here, but when I was about 6 or 7 years old, I started leaving notes to my mom that I wanted to run away to St. Louis and not come find me. When I was 10, I was getting the Post-Dispatch and the Globe Democrat, listening to KMOX at night, streaming it in on a shortwave radio, if you remember those. Finally, my parents took me here when I was about 16 to shatter my dreams, and because they thought I had made up this fantasy. Long story short, I loved it even more and went to Washington University, graduated from WashU. Life took me away from St. Louis for a period of time, but I'm back and I love this city. I think what I love most about it is its diversity and its character. It's just every time I think I have St. Louis figured out, it surprises me, whether it's with the weather or whether it's the neighborhoods, the distinct character of it, the fact that it's not quite north, not quite south, not quite east, not quite west. I could go on and on. But the point is, and I think you get it, I love my city. I love St. Louis, and I'm honored to be in this position as president of ReVitalize. I want to introduce another board member, our vice president and treasurer, Mr. Jim Shelby.
Hi,
Jim,
all.
welcome.
Hello.
I want to tell you where we are with ReVitalize right now. It's had a long history, and Jim's going to go into a little bit about the history and how we have evolved to where we are. But right now, where we are as ReVitalize is we believe that there are so many fantastic individuals, small businesses, small organizations, small nonprofits that are doing tremendous work that don't necessarily get the recognition or the money or the media that they deserve. And our goal at ReVitalize is to amplify and highlight those organizations, individuals, businesses, and nonprofits that we call Changemakers. And we want to highlight them for a couple of reasons. Number one is we want to just tell the story of what they're doing and how they're serving the community. Number two is we've created a system to connect these change makers so that they can begin to share resources and collaborate to make a stronger, more lasting and impactful impression on the city and the residents. And then lastly, we want to contribute to them. So ReVitalize will be making gifts this year to businesses, to nonprofits, individuals, organizations that are what we are calling the Changemakers. So that's the goal of ReVitalize. It's to amplify, to create, to connect, and to fund. And I'm really proud to be in this position right now as the board president. I'd like my co-board vice president just to share a little bit about the long history of ReVitalize and how we got to where we are.
Yeah, so first of all, thanks for the great introduction and sharing your passion about St. Louis. It's contagious being around you and feeling that energy all the time. I know just how truly passionate and committed you are to this project, but I just want to take a minute and reflect. I was reaching out to one of the former board presidents and speaking with her about the history of ReVitalize, and I didn't even know just how storied the past is, how long, all of those things. So we're in our 24th year in this incarnation of ReVitalize. And I will tell you, just as someone that's been here for a little over 2 years now, we've had some really heated conversations during board meetings because everybody that's been a part of this organization in the past and now have been so passionate about revitalizing this incredible city and helping to share the story. And I feel like for the first time, really thanks to Haley coming on board and Larry, your vision, we have some real clear direction on how ReVitalize can actually make an impact. And it's by highlighting those that are making an impact. And it really is a brilliant yet simple philosophy and plan. But just in the short amount of time that Haley's been doing the Changemaker series, I've learned so much about the people of St. Louis and about their passions. And it's really been fantastic to watch. I'm not gonna belabor the point anymore and keep going, but just we're all excited to be a part of it, Larry. I'm gonna go back to you.
That's great. So I just want to take an opportunity to share that when anyone has a vision or an idea, that vision and idea is full of passion and full of excitement. But if you're not able to execute the vision, it just stays a dream. So the execution of it is equally as important as the birthing of the idea. And with that, we are really honored to have our first full-time executive director in the 24 years of ReVitalize, and her name is Haley Jacobson. And we went through hundreds of candidates, and I mean, hundreds
of candidates.
I remember when I first was introduced to Haley through a Zoom call like this, and I got off when I told Jim, I'm like, we're done. And he's like, well, we just have to go through the process. But I felt it, and I knew that Haley was the lady to take this forward. So I'm so happy and grateful that Haley is here, because as I said, the vision and the plan is one thing, but without execution, it stays a dream. So I'd like to introduce Haley Jacobson, Executive Director of ReVitalize.
Wow, well, thank you guys so much. Thank you everyone for joining us today. I'm really excited because I've gotten to connect with all of you individually, and it's fun to have you kind of hear some of our change makers, to meet each other and to kind of see that growth and the community that we're really trying to build. So the exciting thing about this year is that we want our Changemakers community to be invested in growing and supporting each other. So we have 3 huge initiatives, and for each of them, all of our members and all of our Changemakers, we want you to participate. So this year, we have up to $25,000 to give in grants to nonprofits. So is there a nonprofit or organization that you're passionate about? Or did you learn about a new organization, as Jim did, through our series, and you want them to kind of get a little extra support? Well, we need your help to direct those funding. So we also want to support our small businesses, because we know that, you know, not everyone's a nonprofit, but there's a lot of businesses that are doing social good. And you'll hear about a lot of them through our Changemakers series. So we wanted to make sure that we're also supporting them in our community. So we have an additional up to $25,000 to invest in small businesses who are doing social good. So I'm so excited about these. So in total, we're going to be giving away up to $50,000 in grants for our Changemakers. And we need your help. So if you're a ReVitalize member, you get a vote in what organizations are going to receive those grants. So you can sign up. It's really easy. We're doing a member drive for 2021, where the membership fee is just $20.21. So we really are just trying to grow our community. After this 2020, we're not looking back, we're looking forward into creating this Changemaker community, and doing that in the most impactful and connected way that we know how. And then we also, so along with those grants, we also are going to do donations directly to these Changemakers. So on our website, every week we feature an organization on a Tuesday. We drop the interview video, an article that I've written, photos and video content, everything to drive interest in that organization and just to share the word about them. So for a month after that interview date, it's going to be like our go fundraising time for that organization. We're going to be putting the word out. You all are going to be spreading the word. Right? We're going to have our members involved. We're going to have everyone involved. And in that month, not only does that money that's raised from our website or go to that organization, but additionally, at the end of the year, we're going to have a fundraising match. So our members are going to vote which of these organizations they want to see get a 50% fundraising match, up to $5,000. So whatever money you raise in that month, we're gonna match that 50%, and then of course you also get the money that is raised through memberships in your name throughout the whole year. So these are really easy ways that you as the community can just get directly involved. Name a Changemaker you want to see featured, support these change makers, spread the word, and get kind of the financial support there to grow our community in the most effective way that we can.
Haley, can I say something real quick? Can I jump in for just a quick second?
Yes.
Perfect. So over the years, ReVitalize has had thousands of members. And in 2020, for obvious reasons, we did not have a membership push or a membership drive. So this year, we've come out with a couple of unique membership opportunities. One that Haley mentioned is called the Friends of ReVitalize. And anybody that's on this or seeing this link is probably a friend of ReVitalize. So we're excited that you're here and we're excited that you're on here. We also have some ongoing memberships, which are a small monthly fee to keep us going and growing and sharing and telling the stories of everybody that's here. So look for an email to come out with our membership link, unless Haley, I might be premature or I might be late to the party. I don't know if you sent that out already. I know you were putting it together, but there'll be an opportunity to join, and we'd really like to see you join so you can help shape the future of where we're going with ReVitalize. I didn't mean to interrupt, Haley. You can take it back over, but I just wanted to say thanks again to our past members and welcome back.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Yeah, you can go. So every organization will have their own kind of page on our website with the article, with the video links, with a link directly to donate. And you'll just check the box that has that organization name so that we can know where that funding is going to go to. And so the reason that we wanted to invite a couple of our change makers here today is just because we've been so moved by their stories and their missions, and we want to connect them. You know, that's our whole purpose, our whole being is connecting these people and amplifying their impact. And so, Jeffrey, I just want to start with you. Could you just tell us a little bit about Harambee? It's an incredible organization. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing and maybe what some of this grant money could do for you guys.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you for the opportunity to share with you guys this afternoon and for being introduced to ReVitalize. My name is Jeffrey Clay, and I'm Executive Director for Harambee Youth Training Corporation. We are an organization where we work with at-risk youth, ages 12 to 18, and we teach them give them the job skill in the art of tuck pointing. And tuck pointing is repairing the brick buildings here in the city of St. Louis. Our clientele is usually low-income homeowners in the city of St. Louis. If they meet a low-income homeowner rate, which is less than 80% of the AMI, then they are eligible, as long as they live in the house, eligible for a free tuck pointing job. Many of these are senior citizens, widows, whose homes have deteriorated. And as if you know much about tuck pointing, a tuck pointing job is a very expensive job. Well, through our training program, we teach youth, like I said, ages 12 to 18, the art of tuck pointing, and they actually repair homes for low-income homeowners. So that's kind of our mission and our goal. We've been in existence about 25 years ourselves. We started out as cutting grass and all other painting, those roofing, but we found out that the youth in our community, in our neighborhood, was really looking for something that they could sink their teeth in. And we ended up with tuck pointing as a purpose.
That's great. Thank you so much, Jeffrey, and congratulations to your hard work. And I'm sure you're just really providing skills to these individuals that they can take forward with them and become, better individuals themselves, and then give something back to the community through the tuck pointing. So I really do salute you and thank you so much for joining us today. And I want to just invite our viewers to tune in this upcoming Tuesday at 6 p.m. We will have the full conversation, and you'll be able to learn more in a conversation with Jeffrey and our Executive Director, Haley. So thanks again, Jeffrey.
Thank you.
Next, I'd like to pass it over to Susan Kidder. Susan is the CEO of Safe Connections, and Susan was a guest on one of the ReVitalize Changemaker series a couple of weeks ago. And I want to ask Susan, like, what would a grant from ReVitalize, or what would a grant or a donation from someone who's watching the Changemaker series mean for you in terms of programming? And just tell us a little bit about what you need.
Thank you. Well, first, a huge thank you to you for this opportunity and for the amazing work that you are doing to amplify and connect and revitalize. Just your work is extraordinary. So Safe Connections work is to prevent and end domestic and sexual violence. We do that 3 ways: through our 24-hour crisis helpline, therapy and support groups, and prevention education for our kids. We serve about 20,000 people a year, and all of our programs are offered free of charge. We were founded 45 years ago as Women's Self-Help Center, and today Safe Connections proudly serves everyone, inclusive of gender, gender identity, gender expression, sexual orientation. So if you identify as a human being, you are welcomed at Safe Connections in our programs and services. And we normally serve about 20,000 people a year. And this financial support would go a long way to help us assist those in need. We have a client emergency fund that we use to help those we serve with things like medication, co-pays, with groceries, with just the very basic needs that are so easy to take for granted. But these emergency funds really are life savers and life changers for those we serve. We also would benefit with purchasing gift cards for survivors as they are escaping, literally, their violent situations when they're starting over. So we would use these funds to purchase gift cards, to Target and to Dollar Tree and to those stores and other small businesses to help them in their restart of their life. So these funds would go directly to serving people in need, people who are survivors of domestic and sexual violence, would help us support our work with our young people in schools and on college campuses, and then of course to help support our 24-hour crisis helpline in our therapy and support groups. And I just think it's really important for folks to know that we were founded serving women only. And today we proudly serve everyone, because anyone and everyone can be a survivor of domestic and sexual violence. And our work in prevention is upstream to make sure that our kids know what healthy relationships are, what they're not. And again, these gifts help make all of this possible and really advance and drive our mission. And we couldn't be more grateful.
Oh, thank you for sharing, Susan. Yeah, I know learning more about Safe Connections has been really impactful for our community and for me to learn about personally. And thank you for sharing that. And it's nice to see kind of the ways that could help you. Marlon, could you tell me a little bit about Gentlemen of Vision? I know you guys have some cool projects coming up, and some fundraising would be helpful for that. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I want to first say thanks to ReVitalize for just thinking of us and inviting us to be a part of this. Gentlemen of Vision is a mentorship for middle school and high school age young men. We currently have 75 young men in the program, and the phone is ringing with different school districts that want to be in at the table as far as us helping out develop those young men. And so a lot of people know us for the STEP. These guys are the national STEP champions, but it's really about the brotherhood. It's really about discipline. It's really about leadership training. And so just being able to expand to be able to get into those other communities where no programs are offered. As my profession, I'm a guidance counselor, and that's kind of how I started Gentlemen of Vision, just looking around, realizing that, it's some things missing. And so the mentorship that's one of the ways that we are able to give back and help these guys to graduate from high school, which we have 100% high school graduation rate, and we had 100% college.
That's good.
Yeah, we had 100% college placement, but lately a lot of guys are doing military trade, which we don't care which direction you go in, just be constructive and do something good in this world.
Incredible. Larry, did you want to say anything else, or Jim, any questions? I know part of what we wanted to do is just introduce you all and introduce our grants initiative and introduce our funding match and leave a little space for questions, because I know that that's kind of a lot to drop on one Friday afternoon. So if there's any questions on the Facebook out there as well, we're happy to take those. A little space for questions. I know that's I can't hear you, Jen. You're muted. I think Jen has a Facebook question.
Well, let me just say something while we're waiting for that. I had a conversation. I want to speak specifically to Gentlemen of Vision and Harambee right now. I had a conversation with my son the other day, and he was talking about his athletic aspirations and some other things. And I said something to him that just, I don't know where it came from, but it just came out, and it reminds me of your two organizations. And I said, you know, in order to win a championship, you must first be a champion. And I just want to say hats off to all of the organizations on here. But, you know I've seen Gentlemen of Vision, I've seen your work, I've seen what you've done. I was introduced to Harambee through ReVitalize, so I'm a little greener to that organization, but I know Gentlemen of Vision produces champions regardless of the championships. And it's just an exciting thing to watch. The key to our future is our youth and what you guys are doing. And I don't mean to take away anything from Safe Connections, Susan. It's just kind of near and dear to me. I've got two young children at home, and I just want to say hats off to all of you. And then I want to float a question to the three of you. You know, part of our mission in these initiatives is to raise money that can come to you. All proceeds that we raise are going directly to your organization. And then we want to be able to do this match. So if we were able to do the match, it would mean that you would have raised approximately $15,000 for your organization. So I want to ask each of you what $15,000 would mean. How does that stretch out, and what kind of programs, what kind of things could you do with an extra $15,000 in your operating budget this year? So Susan, can we start with you?
Oh, sure thing. That'd be glorious to have $15,000. And what we would do, of course, I want to consult with our teams. What we would do is likely apply that in our prevention education programming, because we serve about 15,000 kids every single year, all around healthy relationships, what they are, what they're not, and we outreach to everyone, and particularly to our young men and boys, because the majority of survivors of domestic and sexual violence are women, girls, female identified folks. And we need to get to our men and boys to make sure that men and boys understand that they have roles, responsibilities, and huge impact, and can be an amazing leader and influencer of their leaders of their dudes. So we would likely apply that to expanding our guys group programming, where we bring guys together, young men, middle schoolers, high schoolers, and young men on campus, to really have heart-to-heart conversations with our male facilitators about their role in preventing and ending domestic and sexual violence, and being leaders in that area. It'd be awesome.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Susan. And again, I saw your video before, and now talking to you now, I'm learning even more about your organization. And I want to say, I know I'm part of the board, and I don't want this to sound as self-serving as it might, but it's so amazing the work that ReVitalize is now doing and sharing these stories. And it's about continued exposure to the cause and the culture that these groups, individuals, businesses, nonprofits are creating, because that's what's going to make the difference. So Susan, thank you so much for sharing. And Jeffrey, you want to go next?
Sure. A big component of our organization is the work that our youth do as far as the tuck point is concerned. That's considered volunteer work, because they are ages 12 to 18 years old. We can't pay them a wage to do that type of work. So the way that they are stipend, they get what is called an educational stipend for the number of volunteer hours that they work. They have to attend a basic life skills class to match the number of volunteer hours they work. And those life skill classes run from anywhere from, how to balance a checkbook, sex, marriage, and dating, conflict resolution. So that's how, and they're stipend based on their age and the number of classes they attend. So if there was an extra $15,000 in our budget, we would definitely use it toward helping to provide those youth with the educational stipend. Many of those kids, like I say, are at-risk youth. They come from single parent homes. Many of these kids that are in our program, they use that stipend, a lot of them, buy their school clothes, entertainment activities, whatever, our youth today are faced with, and it's an alternative, because one of the questions that we ask them is, hey, if you weren't working for Harambee, what would you be doing? A lot of times, 9 times out of 10, we get the answer that, they'd probably be doing something that they weren't supposed to be doing, involved in gang activity, drug activity. So that's why, it's important for us to provide these opportunities for our kids. Not only do we give them a skill that they can use, that they can take with them, but we also provide them with that educational stipend to help with those families, with that single family situation. So that would be ideally what we would do with that $15,000. It would be a wonderful blessing to have that. Yeah, absolutely.
Jeffrey, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Marlon, you're up, sir.
All right. It would be a huge blessing, because one of the things, like I said, we talked about expansion. That's one of the pieces that's missing, the finance and how that would look. Because we've gotten a van, we've gotten a school bus, but now we just need to be able to go to the school and say we have resources to be able to come in and help, train these young men to be upstanding. A lot of times when we come into the picture, a lot of these guys have never put on a shirt and a tie before. That's one of the first things, the professionalism, just being able to conduct themselves as young gentlemen. So expansion would be huge. And also we hate to leave any of these guys in St. Louis when we travel, and some of the guys just don't have the finances. And so we somehow we figure it out, but just being able to have, some resources behind what we're doing, I think expansion would be one of the things that we can work on right now.
Fantastic.
That's great. I wanted to just answer a question, if anyone is even thinking of this, but I am, so I'll take a stab at answering it. And that is the name ReVitalize. The word revitalize means to reinvent something with new life and new vitality. So how does our name apply to what we are doing? And that's what I want to answer. So our vision and our concept is to bring new life and vitality to St. Louis. And how we're doing this is we're focusing on 4 main areas. So while we strongly encourage our audience and our friends to recommend Changemakers so that we can highlight them, we have 4 categories, and these 4 categories will explain our concept of how we think ReVitalize can revitalize the region. Number 1 is safety. So organizations like Safe Connections and dozens of other organizations in the city, if people aren't safe and you don't have basic safety around, it's going to really be hard to revitalize the city and make that a thriving urban area. So safety is number 1. Number 2 is education, and you've heard it today from Harambee and again dozens of other organizations. If we can't educate our youth and we can't educate, then we're doing such a disservice to the future generations of St. Louis. So we have to provide education. Then number 3 is arts and culture. Any vibrant city needs to have a wide array of arts and culture. Clearly St. Louis stands, ranks very high with arts and culture, but it's not just the zoo and the museums. It's the smaller organizations. We featured Stray Dog Theater, and the smaller art and culture organizations are essential. And then finally, the fourth area to complete this revitalization is economic development. If we aren't creating jobs and we aren't having thriving businesses in the city, then simply people won't be able to make the type of money that they deserve and will live at a lower level scale than what they deserve to live. So that's one of the reasons, and one of the things that makes us different is we do give money to businesses, and that's unusual for nonprofits just to hand away money to businesses, and those businesses need to be doing social change. So I hope that answers the question of why we have the name ReVitalize and what the 4 areas that we work in. And I want to ask personally, for everybody listening to this, and I'd also like everybody to share it with someone who they know loves St. Louis and is passionate about it. $20.21 is the membership fee for the whole year. And it's 2021, and we hope that that dollar amount will just be able to include the majority of people that will help us to continue our mission of highlighting, amplifying, and revitalizing our city. So please, please join a membership. If you can give more, we have another button that says others, so feel free to add several zeros after the 2021. We'd love that too. But I really would appreciate a membership so that we can continue to do this. I want to turn it over to Haley and thank everybody for watching. We appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. I think that kind of wraps it up pretty nicely, but this has been really fun to connect sort of virtually in person with you all and share some of the things that we've been working on behind the scenes as interest has just been growing around our Changemakers, and as we really want to find the most impactful way that we can support this community. So as Larry and Jim said, please join with a membership, and then you can help to vote for how we distribute all of these grants to nonprofits and businesses. And then as well, from March 1st is going to be for all of the organizations we've already featured. We'll have a month-long donation drive period for them on our website. And so that will be kind of the month that we use at the end of the year for that funding match program. And then everyone else who's yet to come, I know we have a lot of Changemakers not on the call today, but watching the video. From your launch date, it will be, again, another month of a drive, a funding drive to support you that is then up for that 50% match at the end of the year. So as always, send us a message on Facebook. It goes straight to my phone, so I'll answer you quickly. Send us an email. Head to our website and check out kind of the upcoming Changemakers that will be featured, and you can watch the old videos there as well too. And we'll be releasing those videos of our previous Changemakers again on March 1st, just to kind of start that month-long drive for them. And thank you all so much for joining. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks all.
All right.
Bye, everybody. See you soon.
All right, take care.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.